It's all about the semis. It's all about my semis. Loading up at dawn's first light. Gotta get this cargo.
What it is, drivers. Talking about lease purchases today. Predatory lease purchases at that. I don't know if you guys know, but there was actually a law passed on Congress back in 2021. It is actually called the Predatory Leasing Task Force. For short, they call it Truck Leasing Task Force, or TLTF, for those of you that are interested in that. Now, I was reading this article and it's crazy because, this used to come up a lot early in the channel, and guys was talking about, well, they're going to go lease purchase a truck, and it's a good deal, this, that, and the third. And you get a lot of drivers that say, oh, stay away from it. And in most cases, it is definitely true and best to probably stay away from those lease purchases. But with that being said, now there are a few exceptions to the rules, and there are some out there that are pretty decent. But I talk about this before. I always say, if you're going to go into a lease purchase, go into it with the mindset as it's a tool, and you're only using that truck to get the truck that you want. Because really, most of them are not designed for the driver, and it's a lot of times it is a scam. I mean, it's just really to get a driver in the seat to pay the company's truck payment, and there's really no way about it, no way around it. A lot of these things are unfortunately scams, and if you're going to put yourself in that market, then you got to play it to the best ability that you can and make it profitable for yourself. Now, I've done a couple leases over the course of my career, and I'll tell you, all of them were good leases. My first one was, I literally leased a truck. My goal was not to buy the truck. It wasn't to go out there and I wasn't, going out there to buy this truck. I already knew the game, and I knew that I wasn't going to be putting that kind of money into a truck like that anyway, because chances are I wasn't going to stay with that company to begin with. But it was a great lease. I was paying about $1,100 to $1,200 a week, and that was a trailer rental and the truck. It was a brand new truck, a Volvo at that, very comfortable. I want to say back then it was 2019. I just got it like in the end of 18 or something like that. Did me what I needed to do. I stayed in that truck for about 3 months and got out of it. Got into another lease situation where it was, if I stayed with the company 3 years, then I would have owned the truck, but they were taking only out like about $500 or $600 a week, and it was really a good deal. It really was a good deal, but I didn't want to stay with that company that long. And again, my goal was to just be able to control my time and run how I wanted to run. And then eventually, less than a year after that last go around, I went and bought my truck. And then the rest is pretty much history. And now I have my own authority, and that's been almost 5 years ago. So there are some situations out there that can get you where you need to go, but a lot of guys are so gung-ho about just owning a truck, wanting to get a truck, and they just jump out there and they're like, I'm going to just do whatever. And these companies prey on that, and that's why it's called predatory, because they know that most people just want to get their own truck. They just want to get a truck, and people prey on that. These companies prey on that. So I'm kind of glad that they set up this task force. And one of the articles was saying that there's drivers that actually have documented where if they've came home with as little as 67 cents after paying the truck, and everything else. As a matter of fact, don't take my word for it. I'm going to show you this article right here. The presentation show examples of lease purchases where truck drivers brought home as little as 67 cents in a week after payments and expenses, as well as accounts that paid $20,000 for the year to the driver and $95,000 to the company. Guys, this article here is in Landline if you guys are interested in reading that article. But when I saw that, I said, you know what, we're going to talk about that, because I've been talking about that for a while on a channel where, you know, these lease purchases, you got to understand, these companies, they'll promise you whatever it is that you want, get you in the truck, and you'll be starving. We all know of a company that is known for doing that. Somewhat big company. I think it's called the Ego. We'll just leave it at that. And I've came across a lot of guys that drove for them that were just literally being robbed. You know, they're taking the, you know, toll out, fuel out, and then these miscellaneous, you know, fees and that you just never even heard of. And I'll tell you what happened to me though one time on that first one, which is one of the reasons it pushed me out of the truck too, because they told me I wasn't going to have a lease payment on my trailer. 2 weeks in, I get my settlement, I'm missing almost $200. $200, okay? You know, for us guys, I don't know about anybody else, but $200 is $200. And I look and I said, what's going on with this? And they're gonna say, oh, you know, well, we had to start charging for the trailers. We couldn't sustain anymore. But you're supposed to tell me before you decide to do that. You don't get to just take money out of my pay and then tell me that this is why you did it. So at that point, I put my notice in, and that was about 3 months later. But I put my notice in and I left that company. But I am aware of the tactics. And the other problem is with a lot of these lease purchases and things like that, where you go work for these people and quote unquote you're supposed to be able to book your own freight, or you can just say if you want to go somewhere or you don't want to go, and you say no too many times and see how long they have you sitting on the side of the road, right? They tell you that you can say no, but they don't like when you say no. And here's the other thing. One of the companies I used to pull for, they would charge you if you wanted to see the rate con. So they would tell you, hey, they'll call you up, I got this load going from Joe Blow to Joe Schmo, and it's paying $1,300. And you'd be like, I don't know, you know, that's kind of far for $1,300. And if you calculate the math, and you know that it's probably less than $1 or whatever the case may be, and you say, I want to see the rate con, they will charge you $20 to show you the rate con. You're going to charge me to show me the receipt, the proof of what the load is paying. And then if I give you this $20, you can send me with whatever kind of paperwork you want to send me. How do I know that's the legitimate paperwork? And a lot of these companies, I hate to say it like this, some of these foreign companies, they are bad about that. They hide everything. They don't want to share anything. And this is the other reason why they are allowed to steal monies from the drivers. This is why. You know, the regulations were so lax for so long, they just been running rampant with it. And unfortunately, you know, for those guys that are really out there trying to progress in their career, you know, credit might not be good and just don't have the income, and these things look attractive to get into, you know, and you get in there and next thing you know, you're in the poorhouse. Guys is riding around 3 and 4 weeks, ain't been paid their first check. They waiting. That is insane to me, you know. And what's even more insane is that you will sit around and wait for that. You will sit around and keep sitting around and say, oh, I'm gonna give them next week, or I'm gonna give them next week, I'm gonna give them next week. And next thing you know, the whole month is passed and you ain't even got paid. They'll find a way to get you to give you money to put fuel in the truck. I heard a story about a guy said he couldn't even idle the truck. He had to call the company to ask for money because he couldn't put fuel in the truck to idle the truck for the heat. He couldn't afford it. Crazy. So you guys got to really be careful out here on these lease purchases, man. I mean, you know, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out, you know, with these with this task force. But I thought that was interesting, you know, that they came up with a task force about that. And this is why you're seeing in California too, where they're starting to make these owner operators. You can't, you know, these companies can't have these owner operators as 1099 employees, because they're trying to avoid so much. It's more to them just trying to stop it. It's these companies are not doing what they're supposed to do, and then it ends up hurting the small people, that being the drivers. What you guys think about this? You know, let's talk about it. I'm gonna be getting out of here in a little bit tonight. Well, this week, guys, I'm working at Amazon, so I have some videos coming for that. I'm there all week, working for them, moving shuttles, trailers around for the week. Landed that in my lap this week, so I'm happy about that. I get to kind of kick around home and just work there. So let me know what you guys think. Let's talk about it. It's your boy. How about you, driver? Keep it easy, and I'm out.